Have you ever opened your banking app and it says $327.14, and you just kind of stare at it because payday is 4 days away? Your rent just cleared, your credit card minimum is due tomorrow, and you're telling yourself, okay, as long as nothing weird happens, I'm fine. But deep down, you know you're not fine. You're one car repair away from chaos, one medical bill away from putting everything on a credit card, one layoff email away from panic. And you keep thinking, if I could just save $50,000, then I'd finally feel secure. Look, here's the thing. It's not the $50,000 that changes your life. It's the first $5,000. And today I'm going to explain why. My name is Zach, and I spend way too much time thinking about the psychology and math of building real financial security. If you're someone who feels stuck, living paycheck to paycheck, trying to build savings, but constantly getting knocked backward by life, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because what we're talking about today, this is the turning point most people completely underestimate.
Let me challenge something right away. Most people think big money changes everything. $50,000 in the bank, $100,000 invested, $1 million net worth. That's when life changes. But according to the Federal Reserve Survey of Household Economics, roughly 37% of Americans would struggle to cover a $400 emergency without borrowing or selling something. Not $4,000, $400. So when you go from $0 in savings to $5,000, you are no longer part of that statistic. And that shift, psychologically, is massive. Here's what most people don't realize. The first $5,000 doesn't just change your bank balance, it changes your behavior. The real math, why $5,000 is a power threshold. Let's do simple math. Imagine you save $5,000. That covers a $1,200 car repair, a $2,000 medical bill, a month of rent, a surprise flight home, without touching a credit card. Now compare that to someone with $0 savings. Same emergencies, but now they put $2,000 on a credit card at 24% interest, pay $40 to $60 in monthly interest, take 2 years to pay it off, lose hundreds of dollars to interest. According to data compiled by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the average credit card APR in the US is over 20%. So that $2,000 emergency, it quietly becomes $2,500 plus. The person with $5,000 avoids that spiral completely. That's not a small difference. That's financial gravity changing direction. The hidden momentum effect. Now this is where it gets really interesting. Money has momentum. When you're at $0, every expense pushes you backward. When you're at $5,000, small wins start pushing you forward. Let me explain. At $0 savings, emergencies create debt, debt creates interest, interest slows saving, stress increases spending. Negative loop. At $5,000 savings, emergencies don't create debt, no new interest, income goes toward investing, confidence increases. Positive loop. The first $5,000 flips you from defensive to stable, and stability creates momentum. Why $50,000 doesn't change you the same way? Now, you might be thinking, Zach, are you seriously saying $50,000 isn't life-changing? Of course it is, but here's the difference. Going from 0 to 5,000 changes your identity. Going from 45,000 to 50,000 barely changes your daily life. At $50,000, you already have emergency coverage. You already understand delayed gratification. You already built habits. The hard part is done. According to research summarized by the American Psychological Association, financial stress is one of the top sources of anxiety in the United States. The first buffer dramatically reduces that stress. After that, Each additional dollar increases security, but not identity. And identity is everything. The psychology shift at $5,000. Here's what happens that nobody talks about. When you hit $5,000, 1. You stop panicking about small expenses. 2. You stop relying on credit cards. 3. You start thinking long-term. And this is backed by behavioral research from Harvard University on scarcity mindset. When you're constantly worried about money, your brain literally narrows its focus. You make short-term decisions, you impulse spend, you avoid investing because what if I need it? But when you have a cushion, your brain exits survival mode. You think strategically, you compare options, you negotiate, you wait for better deals. That shift is worth more than the dollars themselves. A simple analogy. Building wealth is like pushing a car uphill. The first few feet, brutal. Your legs are shaking, you're questioning your life choices. But once the car crests the hill, it rolls. The first $5,000 is the top of that hill. The next $50,000? That's downhill compared to what you just did. Let's talk about the objection. Now, you might be thinking, Zach, $5,000 feels impossible. I can barely save $500. I get it, because the beginning isn't math, it's behavior. Let's break this down practically. If you save $200 per month, that's $2,400 per year. In just over 2 years, you're at $5,000. If you pick up a side gig earning $400 per month for 1 year, that's $4,800. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American spends thousands annually on discretionary categories like dining and entertainment. Look, I'm not saying never eat out, but redirecting even $150 per month makes a difference. The math isn't complicated, the psychology is. Why most people never reach it? Here's what most people don't realize. They treat $5,000 like a milestone. It's not. It's a system milestone. People save $1,000, then spend $700, then restart. Why? Because there's no rule protecting it. So here's a rule. Your first $5,000 is untouchable unless it prevents debt. Not vacations, not sales, not I deserve this. Debt prevention only. Once you treat it like armor, not spending money, momentum begins. The compounding effect of stability. This is where it gets even more interesting. Once you have $5,000, you can invest confidently. Let's say you invest $500 per month starting at age 30, earning 8% annually. By 60, that's about $745,000. And yes, that's historically aligned with long-term stock market averages tracked by firms like Vanguard. But here's the catch. Most people don't invest consistently until they feel stable, and stability begins at that first buffer. Without $5,000, investing feels risky. With $5,000, investing feels intentional. That psychological shift unlocks compounding. The confidence dividend. There's another layer. When you know you're not desperate, you negotiate salary more confidently, leave toxic jobs sooner, say no to bad financial deals. Confidence has ROI. A 5% salary increase on $60,000 is $3,000 per year. Over 10 years, that's $30,000, not including raises on top of raises. That single negotiation could be worth more than the difference between $5,000 and $50,000 saved. And confidence starts with cushion. The story that explains everything. I once spoke to someone who hit $5,000 after years of hovering around zero. Nothing dramatic happened, no fireworks, but she told me something I'll never forget. For the first time in my adult life, I didn't feel scared. That's it. Not rich, not flashy, just not scared. And that's the hidden momentum effect. When fear goes down, consistency goes up. When consistency goes up, wealth becomes inevitable. The 4-step plan to reach $5,000 faster. Let's make this actionable. Step 1. Define the number. Open a separate high-yield savings account. Name it $5,000 Armor. Psychology matters. Step 2. Automate $150 to $300 monthly. Remove willpower from the equation. Step 3. Add one temporary income boost. Sell unused items, freelance, overtime for 3 months. Not forever, just long enough to accelerate. Step 4. Protect it relentlessly. No touching it unless it stops high-interest debt. That's it. Simple. Not easy, but simple. And why this changes your life more than $50,000? Because the first $5,000 ends the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle, stops high-interest debt spirals, reduces stress dramatically, increases confidence, unlocks investing consistency, changes your identity. The next $45,000? That's scaling a system you already built. The hardest psychological barrier is behind you. And look, I know the internet loves talking about millions, $100,000 milestones, 7-figure portfolios, passive income. But most people don't need $1 million to change their life. They need momentum, and momentum starts at $5,000. So if you're at $327 in your bank account right now, good. You're not behind. You're at the bottom of the hill. Push, because once you cross that $5,000 mark, everything changes. Not because you're rich, but because you're no longer fragile. And fragile is expensive. Stable is powerful. If this helped shift your perspective, hit subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments, where are you right now on your $5,000 journey? I'm Zach, and I'll see you in the next one.